G'day everyone and welcome to the Infronters. I'm Execute. Today I'm joined by Algared, Seer, and Dasein. So we're going to be doing a 4-person episode today. And today our buyer's guide is going to be on the Argo Mole that just instantly went straight to Flyable and straight to Q&A, which also means we can go straight to our recommendations. So, I guess I'll start with Dasein. Initial impressions, mate. Straight off the bat, what'd you think of it?
Absolutely amazing. Only one issue that I have with this ship, actually, and that's the cargo capacity for the mining.
We'll talk about that as we go on. See your initial impressions.
Orange.
Right, Algared. Besides orange, what was your initial impressions, Algared?
Crazy Owl's impressions are gimme. It's a nice ship. Very nice. Very nice. Looks good. Looks industrial. Feels good.
Well, I got a chance to play it the other day with Paul on his Astropub live stream, and I had a lot of fun playing it, and I think it's going to be a really fun ship that we get to play, so to speak, over the break while COG is away. So I guess we'll go straight into it and compare this. I think when you look at the current ship we have, the Prospector, it pretty much just rip. It's dead. Like it
blows it out of the water.
It's gone.
Yep.
We before the show, I jumped in very quickly and we just tried out some of the solo mining. It's already got a more powerful laser. You tend to have to kind of like hover in it to mine better than the Prospector. So the Prospector still has that ability, but the real killer to the solo part of it is the having to switch seats. But it is doable, and there is an advantage in the fact that you have a more stronger level 2 mining head. So that
and
real
better
quickly.
cargo capacity.
The big thing we found was why you can still land and mine like you can with Prospector, because of the ability to move your mining laser around, you really do need to be upping and changing the location of your ship a lot more, and that almost makes it unplayable in that aspect. But you can do it.
But the counterpoint to that is literally when you are in a group, there is so much discussion going on, and it just makes the game instantly more enjoyable. Like when Paul and I and we had Diabolus, which is a mate of mine, with us as well, it was just all the discussion back and forth. Like, okay, yeah, a little bit more, a little bit less. Can you move to the left, Paul? Because Paul was in the pilot seat at that time, and it was just so instantly interactive, and you can see that now flow out to all the other multi-crew, because this is the true first multi-crew doable thing in game that's not combat. And combat's you're kind of still in your own turret shooting stuff. You're not really so much working together as much. This is literally able to work together, and I think it's going to have a real draw card just for that alone, because it's the first.
It really does pick up that group play that Chris Roberts was really pushing for when he envisaged the Constellation as being your group of mates doing stuff together. This really does seem to get that.
Sia, tell me what you think about the price, bud.
I think I'm okay with it, because one, I was speculating that it was going to be around the $350 store credit price. So I was wrong, but in a good way. It was cheaper. So I feel like it's a decent price. It's kind of the happy medium. It's not too far off. It's not too far from the original concept price of the Orion, if I'm not correct. It was like $300 something for the original.
$325
before it shot up.
Very close.
Exactly. It's so like I bought it when it was $400, and then it went up before it went up its next one. So I mean,
sorry, I was just
I think it's good.
Yeah, Algared, your thoughts on price?
The price puts it around the same price as the Corsair. It's actually $5 more than a Corsair going by upgrade price. It's around the same price as a Constellation, and they're really the ships that are 4-player, 5-player, or 4-player, 5 seats. So it's right in the price point I would have expected, although the initial cost made me go, ooh.
Okay, Dasein, your thoughts real quick on price. Was it where you expected?
While it's close to the Connie, and I do like that, I do think it is overpriced by a little bit. I think
how much do you think? Do you think it should have been more like the original Connie price, or like $225? Like where do you think?
That's what I think it really should have been more around. Especially because when you look at it, there are other options that are close to it for a ship that would be better bang. Like, just think about it, especially when they come out with the next level ship.
I think it kind of falls into the trap of some of the ships were just overpriced this year because they were worried they weren't going to get enough funding. I think that's really clear where this ship has fallen. Just in relation to myself, and I did talk to Paul, we were both speculating 250 to 300, so it was smack bang where we thought it was going to be. I think the ship is slightly smaller than a Constellation, but I think it's definitely more better built than a Constellation. The feeling I get, it feels like it's been built from the inside out rather than a Constellation that was outside in. You guys, what do you feel about that? So we'll start with Dasein and go backwards this time. So Dasein, what do you think about its construction and layout and things like that?
Absolutely love the layout. It's very intuitive, very easy to get around. Only gripe I have about the layout is I would have liked some sort of elevator that goes down next to the stairs, kind of like they have in the Starfarer.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay, you know. No, it was Algared, wasn't it? So just remember, Algared.
Yeah, go ahead.
Your thoughts on
I'll talk last.
Your thoughts on layout and stuff, Algared.
From what I've seen so far, I like it. I like the idea that, and I think you're right. It's almost been built from the outside in, sorry, inside out rather than inside.
I got you, man.
And that's the big problem that the Constellations had from the get go. And I'll leave my gripes on the Constellation there. But this it does have a nice feel. I don't think it does need the elevator. I think having just the ladder gives it more of a utilitarian industrial feel rather than that. And it also means you've got less movable parts or less bits that can break and need to be repaired.
I
can't really break a ladder.
I do strongly agree with you on the utilitarian feel. It's got this very structured. I don't know how to explain it. When you're in there, like the way the doors work and the way, like sometimes a lot of other ships have direct routes. This has kind of got like a slight indirect route sometimes, but it's because it has to fit and has to work, and I think that really comes across really strong. I think
it's Drakes meets Consolidated Outlanes.
Yes. No, I think it's more Misk meets Consolidated Outland, but I can see the cheapness you're getting from Drake, so maybe it's a mish of all three. But yeah, it definitely has its own unique style, because it really is the first Argo we've really kind of had to see a really big interior in, so I'm still trying to feel that out. I haven't really had a thought process, but Sia, what's your thoughts on the interior and styling?
I like it. It's not, rather than the Starfarer, it's not kind of confusing. I mean, I didn't want to spoil my own surprise. I didn't watch anybody's first look video or anything like that. I wanted to like get a feel for it myself, because it's a pretty beefy ship.
Yep.
And I was able to find the elevator and get up there and get into the flight deck, and probably about 45 seconds after I was waving around the inner thoughts and getting into the elevator. So the interior looks nice. It's nice and compact. It feels good. Honestly, I feel like I'm in the Vulcan, because like the way the flight deck was to the crew rec area all the way down the stairs, I felt like I was getting that whole Vulcan vibe. So I'm hoping
glad
they
you
take this for Vulcan.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it really does nail home. I really think the Vulcan needs a switch, and I think you boys will agree with me on that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I always thought the Vulcan was more industrial, not.
I'm surprised none of you mentioned, when we're talking about the look and the style and the layout, the engines at the back. The way this thing rotates, both the VTOL and the actual for landing engines.
You said interior. You said interior.
Oh, okay, right. All right, fine. Whatever. But they're super sexy, and I've been kind of drooling over this ship a little bit, like just the way it works.
Absolutely. Gets in earlier, showing it. Oh, look at this! Look at this! Oh. And he put them on, and he almost. It was almost like he was having an orgasm.
That was Algared dreaming. But anyway,
before we move on, I would like to finish by saying the only thing that is a little frustrating is the fact, which I'll agree with. We were talking about this on the captain table today. I wish it was remote turrets instead of you having to physically get inside. They were remote turrets, so then it would just it makes things easier in terms of the ship, like mechanics. Like I understand they want us to like be able to feel like were part of the ship.
Immersion.
And, like, exactly, the immersion. But if they wanted to really make things simplistic, but yet make it still effective, you can easily do the remote turret thing. Because that's what I really liked about the Valkyrie. So
Yeah.
it's like, I wish they had remote turrets for this.
Just-
But I mean, it's still a good ship overall in terms of the interior. So I mean, I'm flying it right now in the game.
Really quickly
that's-
with turrets, I'm noticing too that a lot of the turrets that come out now are that more of the hammerhead style, and I'm starting to think if they're going to go back and redesign a lot of the other ships to make them more hammerhead style, because all the ones we've seen since then,
You have better
Yeah.
degree of freedom with the hammerhead style ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels
And
like,
that
at
was one of the
least.
things we always said when we were looking at turrets and hammerhead previously, was that that really was the test bed for turrets. There was a new test bed, the new working model for the turrets, and it seems to have worked. And so we're seeing it progressively get applied to other ships with turrets, it seems.
So let's talk a little bit about the downsides of the ships. We talked about some of the improvements and the good things like that. So, and I did mention if you're trying to solo this, you've got to move a fair bit if you're doing it alone. But the one that's really clear to me, and I'm sure you boys will agree, just to make this short and sweet, is when you land, if you put the two side turrets down, it interferes with the landing gear. So this is not a ship on planet that you can land with. That instantly, I think, puts it more into the domain of an in-space ship. But yes, it can go down a planet. But I think its preferred location is going to be in space with those asteroids rather than a rock on the surface. Is there any other things that you guys can, if you agree with me also, any other things that you find that are bad about it? Sid? Excuse me.
Did you say Seer first?
Yes, I did. Sorry.
Okay, so right now, looking at it in game, the defensive capability, like, I'm already looking on top, and there's a spherical area. They could have easily put a like a turret up there that just holds 2 size 2s and gave that for the co-pilot instead of giving just the pilot the fixed size 2s that are currently in game. They should have done that to give it more a better defensive capabilities. That's 100% for sure. They could have done that
So this
and make that a remote turret.
this pushes into that argument of though, like, does it need escorts and stuff like that? And I question
of
that
course.
gameplay. So like that's where I think it's in the realm
Civilian
of I don't
ships
know.
don't need guns necessarily, because
Yeah.
the big point is, are you handing everyone heavy military hardware? I mean, that's just really a weird thing to be asking. It's like, should a bulldozer in a construction yard be equipped with a minigun?
Well, I mean, just one defensive turret, nothing crazy. Instead of giving the pilot just the guns.
I actually probably agree. I think the co-pilot should have probably got the guns in this instance. I'll give you that 100%. Algared, any massive drawbacks for you, mate?
I'd agree with the idea of a turret. I think the co-pilot would really benefit from having something else to do rather than just manipulating the shields.
I think quite honestly, his main role and this is just from playing with Paul and Diabolus, will be scanning. I think he will be the dedicated scanner. He'll be finding rocks and stuff like that. And I'm almost willing to bet he might even be the central. I feel they'll remove scanning from the actual turrets eventually, and he'll probably come up from the central turret and walk into that and scan, and then go back down the ladder into the central turret every time.
The other thing is that, like the Constellation, this has 5 seats, so it could be a 5 crew ship, and yet the living quarters and even the escape pods is only for 4, and that gives it that same problem the Constellation has in that regard. And so that's something I find difficult. The problem you raise with the side turrets causing the ship to unbalance when you land it, I don't think any mining ship is really specifically designed to be used from a landed position. I think that's something you can use with the Prospector to advantage. You can use it with this, but
can I just interject there?
Really
just let me interject. The Prospector, we've seen multiple shots of it landed and it aiming straight down. It is 100% designed to land the Prospector. This is not. Sorry, I had to interject because of that image of it aiming straight down. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, but we haven't got that ability to mine in that regard yet. But certainly on the mining of rocks, we certainly land and mine. This can do the same thing, but as we found and discovered that just that lack of movement on that turret really does make it hard. And so you want to be hovering when you're mining, and if you're doing that, then all 3 turrets work fairly well.
Yeah, very limited field of view, isn't it? Yeah.
But I certainly think this is, as you said, a ship that's better geared for mining asteroids in space rather than doing the planet side.
Yeah. So you've got your 4 escape codes at the back. You've got a whole bunch of easy access to components. There is a little bit of the ship that is unutilized space-wise, but that'd obviously be meant for things like the sorting and prospecting of rocks. We also found through the Q&A, all it really does, and this is the Prospector as well, is kind of reduces the amount of inert materials. Now, we don't have any kind of details on how much of a percentage that is. So taking that and also taking the Orion and looking at the overlap of the Prospector to the Mole, I think we can also safely assume, you guys we've talked about this before the show, but I think that safely also means that there is also a large mining ship potentially on the way. So that would give us our extra large, and we currently have the Prospector, so the extra large is the Orion. Prospector is a small, this is the medium, but I think there is very clearly room for a large. Your thoughts on that? Dasein, start with you. Do you think that's a possibility?
Quite definitely a possibility, because you also would see something like that having a better cargo capacity, because that is my only issue with the ship, is you're gonna fill up very, very quickly and you're gonna have to go. And the saddlebags are a unique idea, but the big thing is it really limits what you're able to do.
Those saddlebags are also larger too via the Q&A, which was something interesting that we found out there too. So, Sia, do you, like mentioning kind of on what Dasein just said, do you think it's going to be more likely extra cargo in the large one, or more likely to be more sorting? Just if you agree, if it is going to happen at all, that is.
I think both.
Okay.
They're gonna want you. They're gonna want. I mean, marketing first. They want people's money, so they're going to make it so that you're going to want to be able to have a better ship if you want. So then, what would stop people from? Yeah, I think I'll CC you or something. They got to have inherently.
Yep.
Well, excuse me, I lost my train of thought. You know what I mean? They gotta give you a reason for you to want to get it. So I think it's gonna be both. I'll just throw that out there. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, cool, whatever.
All right. And Algared, you reckon that's a given, or?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. One of the big drawbacks with the Prospector and this is the fact that there's no general cargo area. It's just stuck in the bags. Yeah, it's got the spare bags like the Prospector, but if you buy yourself, once you fill your bags up, you can't detach them. You can't put them into another ship at the moment.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's
extra
at the
cargo
moment,
is wasted.
Sorry? I was just going to say, so the takeaway you're trying to say is that it's probably working more with other people than, say, if they made the large one, you can kind of be a bit more soloistic. Yeah, okay, I get you.
And I think the larger one will have that cargo. I think I'd agree with Sir as well. It'll probably have more of that, whether it's a sorting ability or some form of refinery.
Well, the large capitals are the only ones that have refineries currently, so I'd probably say that would be the one thing it doesn't have.
So the Orion has the storage place. It's got the refinery. It's got some advanced sorting. So I could see there's a space there certainly for something in between, because at the moment nothing has sorting and nothing has a refinery.
Real quick then,
from the Orion.
Based on where the Orion sits now price-wise and these two sit price-wise, I'm expecting around $400 for if they made a large one. Would you guys agree with that? Just real quick, Algared?
Yeah, that fits.
Sia?
Yeah, I can.
Dasein?
Slightly more, because it'll be flight ready.
Okay.
Their flight ready model is really hitting that from what you would expect it to be to up.
So what I'm really getting at while we're going into this large mining vessel is knowing where that would sit. Would you then recommend the Mole based on that? So are you recommending, and who would you recommend the Mole for? And something else that's really come up to me in the last couple of weeks is, would you recommend the Mole now? And I really do recommend the Mole now, but I don't recommend it later myself. So, Algared, your thoughts, please. Who would you recommend this ship for, or would you say maybe get one of the larger ones instead? Or your recommendations, basically.
I think if you want someone who wants to do solo / group mining, so you're going to have a group of friends, but you also want to be able to do solo, this trumps the Prospector hands down. I think if you're looking at also doing, if you've got an Orion and you're looking at doing the big group mining as well, again, minimum crew on an Orion is 4, maximum crew on this is 5. So there's a good crossover in that. So you could actually scale up and move into the bigger ship. I'm not sure how well they'd work together, and Ryan and Mole would work together, but they certainly will have different areas they could work. So, yeah. And
what about now?
definitely.
At the moment?
If you're wanting to do group work now, definitely, just because of the fact that it is the first group ship we've got.
Seer, your recommendations.
I'm not really ready to give my recommend. Oh, wait, are we almost done, or are we still? No, I'm not ready to give my recommendations yet because there's still so many things we haven't talked about. We haven't gone over the stats. We haven't gone over the quantum range or anything like that, which I would like to talk about before I give my overall recommendation.
Then go for it.
Okay, so technically, even though it's hilarious that it's on the smallest pad possible, I feel like since this is Connie's size, I'm going to assume that it's a larger ship. So with that being said, since I'm actually in game this time, because with the Ares one I was so off the wall. But anyways, let's so if for the people who don't know, just remember you have size 2 turrets basically. So the prospectors take size 1, you can take size 2. I currently bought a couple of them, and it doesn't look like you can do what you can do with weapons, which is you could put a gimbal and you could put a gimbal size 1 versus the fixed size 2 if that's the max allowed slot. So that being said, it seems like the mole can only take the size 2 turret mounts. So that's a thing. And with that being said, you actually have a mixture between large and medium components. Your quantum drive is it seems to be a size 2 quantum drive. You have one size 3 cooler, so that's just a massive cooler, which makes sense because these draw a lot of power, so you'll be able to cool things down because you're just pulling a lot of power. Your power plant is actually a size 3 as well. It seems to be the same one that a caterpillar comes with, the Ginzel, and then you have 2 shield generators. So that's pretty interesting between the mix of 2 and 3. So what that means in terms of the future, or in terms of upgrading, it may be worth it to upgrade the cooler in the power plant in terms of future wear and tear, because I know they're going to add sub item slots for the mining heads, because if you actually go to the Helix size 1 module, which is the most expensive one, actually has 3 sub nodes in there for the sub components that probably allow you to further dampen the sense, not the sensitivity, but the resistance, or give you a better green zone for the expense of even higher instability or something like that.
They're probably going to all fluctuate as they experiment with them as well.
They're going to do that. And in terms of weapons, you only got 2 fixed size 2s. So again, that's why I wanted the turret, because the pilot, you're super slow. This thing borderline maybe has a little bit better maneuverability than a Starfarer Gemini. I kid you not. It's really heavy. It's really slow. It feels nice, big and heavy, slow kind of thing, because again, it has size 3 components, and it has those big engines.
The braking is really hard in it. Like that's one of the things I've noticed. It's only got those 2 forward thrusters, and you're almost best to just pivot the whole thing and use its back engines to slow it right down, or just travel slowly.
And I think
range as well.
I think that's a downside of a ship as well, because it's a medium-sized ship, whereas other ships that have that real sluggish feel are large or bigger, and so this is really the first.
So it's a medium size.
It's
a
medium size.
I've been holding on to that actually. When you mentioned it was constellation size, I didn't want to interrupt you because you're on your little spiel, but yeah, it takes up from the medium.
It is actually a medium size ship.
Medium pads at the moment, so it's kind of freelancer size, I guess, is really.
Yep. Well, it's only 38 meters, 38.5 meters long.
I do believe the Constellation is one of the smallest large ships, but do not quote me on that. As in length.
That's fine.
Yeah, but
okay, so it's a medium sized ship then that has like 1 or 2 large component, a couple of larger components, which is the main thing. So with that being said, in terms of you upgrading this to make it better in game, you're going to be spending a pretty penny, especially if you want a better power plant and stuff. I don't really see. I need to do more research, but as of right now, I don't think it would be necessary for you to upgrade the components. Because you're going to be spending a lot of money unless you have that kind of money in game, or you earn that kind of money in game. Then try it, do so. I will too. But
in terms of components, it only has a large cooler. Everything else
I already covered all that. But yeah. But anyways,
Your
now for
recommendations then,
my
sir.
yeah. So with all that being said, my recommendation, if you are full set into the mining gameplay, I think this actually would be a good chip for now. Yes, because I feel like you can still solo it. Just don't even go down to a planet. There's so many ways now to get to find an asteroid. You can go to the rest stops like CRUL3, and they have the mining claims. I mine there. I can go try to see if I can mine there again, but I was able to do it in my prospector during the 3.8 PTU. So they've added more ways to mine, and it doesn't take too long to get into the bottom turret. The more pain in the butt part is the animation. So
Yep.
I recommend it for now, and in the future, I recommend it because jump points and stuff. If
Yep.
you can't take an Orion in, or you can't take this maybe future bigger
It's a
mining
really
ship,
good
you can
point.
take this. Yeah, or it's still better than the prospector in so many ways. So you can be able to go through and go into a jump point if it allots you to, and then go do your thing and come back. Simple. So yes, I would recommend this now and in the future, because I'm pretty sure in the future they're also going to make it so you can divvy money between everybody and stuff. It's just they're not there, right? They're not
Yeah.
at that structure
And
yet.
you've still
But
got beacons you can use right now if you want. And unless your friend's a complete jackass, they're going to give you the money anyway. So,
yeah,
so we don't play with
pretty
Dyson
much.
for that reason. No, just kidding.
We don't play with
I'm just
Dyson.
kidding.
He'll take your ore and run.
He did that to me today. Just that's what the reference is for. He never mined before. I came up, fractured a rock, and he just sucked it all up. And I went, "Hey, what are you doing?" It's all good. All right, Dyson, your recommendations, you dirty, thiefy scoundrel.
My recommendation is it's good now and it's good later, especially good later, because the thing you have to think about is not just how many people are going to be operating it, but ease of getting down to planets, ease of getting back up, operating costs, jump points that have already been mentioned. But the big thing is if you have between this, you can't take an Orion down, so of course the other larger mining ship makes a lot of sense. This will still be a lot easier to get down, especially with some of these atmospheres. So it might be a lot quicker. And when you think group dynamics, if you were using saddlebags, that might actually speed things up, as weird as that sounds.
You touch on a really important point that we haven't talked about in regards to the prospector. This really is a nail in the coffin for the prospector, purely because based on the fact that
Yes.
it's got like triple the cargo capacity, you can solo it. And the one thing that you don't really think of, like, yes, there is an inconvenience to getting in and out of the seat, but you don't have to go all the way back to a space station anywhere near as frequently as you will have to do with a prospector. And that's just
Yes.
if that's just you and no one's picking up the pods. Don't even take into account that this has got like, I think it's 3 times the number of pods or double or something like that. But that's insane.
Yeah, it has 4 pods on each side for a total of 8 pods exterior.
Yeah.
There
So it's
you
double
go.
Looking
the
at it right
pods,
now.
and the pods are bigger.
And somebody's trying to get in my ship, of course. Peasant, get the frick
Yep.
away from me. I'm at Grimhex,
All
that's
right,
why.
so
He's been following me around in a space penguin.
Dason, the end of your recommendation. Sorry for us interrupting.
So the big thing is it's just going to be a ship that I think you will have now, and you'll be able to keep for a long, long time, because it's also probably going to be the largest miner that is soloable.
Definitely.
Because
Yeah.
I don't see you being able to do that with anything larger.
I also think the other thing that C mentioned about the jump points is really on point too. Like if they stay to the stuff we know about the jump points, this will be the largest ship that can go through the smallest jump point. So it'll always have a place because of that. And I think the other part, as I was getting at, we've speculated for quite a while, the advanced starters were not good. And this confirms that, at least from the mining perspective, that this is what you want to aim for. You don't
And
want
from
to
a repair perspective.
well, we don't know. Like if they bring out another a Vulcan 2 or Fatter Vulcan or whatever you want to call it, then that'll confirm that as well. But this is the first one we can say, well, with mining,
Yeah.
this is what we were kind of talking about and hinting at. This is what you want to go for over a prospector. And really, I think it comes down to how many friends you have and what type of, do you want to play in a big group of 8 people? Orion. If you want to play with just you and one other friend, then this.
There is one other point to raise in terms of in this over a prospector, and the only reason you get a prospector is if you want to do mining and you can't afford a mole straight off.
There you go.
That's the only reason, the only factor.
Yeah. Well, it's $125 more than the prospector, so that is always a factor. But yeah, I guess money not being a factor. And the other thing is, if it was just you on your own, this actually kind of becomes cheaper if you've got to split it between you and a friend. You know, like if it's $300 versus $275. So I would buy it, like if it was just me and Algared buying this ship. Sorry. Yeah. Well, that's if you buy it with credits, $275 or whatever. I'm not going to get into that argument. The point I'm trying to make is, if me and Algared were going to buy this ship to share, we would probably buy this rather than buy two prospectors. Is what I'm trying to say. It's going to save us time. It's going to save us maintenance. We can just get out together or work together and do what we want to do. And I think that's where we'll kind of end that, unless anyone else has got anything else they would like to add. That's everything. All right. Well, just before we head off then, here, everyone at the Infrarunners here would just like to say Merry Christmas to everyone and Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, all that type of jazz, wherever you come from, race and creed. We've had a really great year here with the Infrarunners. Anything, do you want to say Merry Christmas, Algared, or anything like that? And we'll just go around and you guys say whatever you want to say.
Merry Christmas, and a special shout out to our new Patreons. We've got some Patreons now. We're really chuffed that you guys actually value what we're doing and want to support us and help us make our shows better. Every little bit helps, surprisingly. So if you want to if you want to join us on Patreon, feel free. We'd love to have you. So yeah.
See you.
Well, this says I haven't hit it yet, but this has been my first year with the Infrarunners, and I mean, I just recently hit my first year being a YouTuber, and I thought I was going to get destroyed and hated by everybody, but surprisingly, I haven't. Yeah. So, I mean, life is good. I've been busy with work, so I need to start working on my own content again because Christmas is here, so I don't have an excuse not to work on my videos. But another thing, I mean, I recently started going bald again. Like I every once a year I shave my head to reflect on what happened this year. It's kind of my own little ritual. But should I stay? I don't know. Should I stay bald? I do it by choice. Sorry, old man.
No, I don't know that. I did by choice. I just shaved off last week.
Nope. You see, he's just getting old. He's making excuses. Right. But anyways,
I shave mine off by choice.
Should I stay for our Patreons and everybody? Make a poll in the comments. Should I keep my sexy bald head, or should I go back to having hair and having it being all over?
I will add an extra one to the poll. Should he wear whipped cream instead? Yeah, I'm going with whipped cream.
Whipped cream? Why whipped cream? I'm not
because it'll just look funny. Yeah, that's what it looked like. That's my whole point.
Spray on hair. Why not?
All right, Dasein, anything you want to wrap up with? Because this is going to be our probably. I don't think this will be our last show of the year. Actually, I think we'll definitely do one next week. But I just wanted to do like a holiday cheer one. So Dasein,
certainly the last one before Christmas.
Definitely,
it has been a really great year. We've had massive jumps in production quality with cameras, green screens, all that. A special thanks to all of you again, because our channel has grown a lot this year. This has actually been our biggest year of growth. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, like everyone said, just thanks to you guys for being there. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't enjoy it, and I get a really big kick out of helping everyone. That's my big thing. When someone comes in with a fleet, and I've seen multiple people come in this year, and they're like, you ask them what you want to do and stuff, and their fleet is nothing like what they want, and they walk away.
I want to do mining.
Yeah,
what mining ships have you got? Nothing?
Yeah.
What ships have you got? All these combat ships, but I want to do mining.
So yeah,
okay.
And Algared's been there as well, and Dasein. I've done them with all these boys throughout the year. People come in with just, they don't know what they want, and they've overspent, and you correct it, and they walk away really, really happy. And I get a real buzz out of helping other people. So that's why I'm in this show, and that's why I do it. All right, so if you like this video, like this video. If you dislike this video, you know what to do there as well. Hit us up on Discord. If you like us on Patreon, as Algared mentioned, we've got a few new Patreon backers, and that's really going to help us out. Get a few bit more equipment. Get some other things fixed that we wanted to do. And I'm just upping the quality. And these boys that are helping me out, even if they're just backseat photoshopping, they're helping me. So yeah, it's all a group effort here.
If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the little bell so you get notifications when we put out something new. But yeah, all of the above plus that.
Yeah, I'm always on my phone, and I will usually help you if I'm like waking up in the morning with my one eye and just like, okay. And
that's how I wake up when you message me. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right, everyone.
That's the thing. I don't message
you. No, you do. You do. Don't lie. Anyway, all right. Everyone have a great Christmas, and we'll see you guys next week. And hope your family's safe and take care. Bye-bye.
Take
Happy
care and God bless.
Thanksgiving.
Wait, it's not Thanksgiving. It's Christmas.
Shut up.
So rude.
I know.
Wah.